Now, as part of this story, we know that many Ukrainians are insisting that a deal is only possible if their country is at the negotiating table. So let's dig a little bit deeper into that and into this highly anticipated meeting. We have invited to the show Alexandra Chyczij. She is the president of the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress, and she's joining us from Toronto. Alexandra, thank you for making time for us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Alexandra, just set the stage for us when you've got the presidents of two of the most powerful nations in the world meeting about the future of your country of origin, and yet your president Zelensky is not there, no representative from Ukraine is there. What does that mean for you for this meeting?
Well, I think, first of all, Ukrainians view this meeting as, while it is strategically important, we understand that Putin never comes to the table with bona fides. And we know that from the many years of negotiations that took place between the invasion of Crimea in 2014 and the various Minsk Accords that were negotiated over the years leading up to the full-scale invasion in 2022. So we don't know that there's going to be any different a response from Putin this time.
So then, do you have any hopes or expectations of what President Trump will bring?
We do hope that President Trump will follow the sage advice that he got from the EU, the UK, and our own Prime Minister Carney when they met with him yesterday, that he will take those red lines, if you will, and convey them to President Putin. And that the first and foremost sign of goodwill by Putin would be to agree to an immediate ceasefire.
What if that agreement comes at the cost of a fifth of your country's landmass being handed over to Russia?
Well, it's not anyone's to hand over.
Right.
You know, neither Trump nor Putin can hand over what is not theirs. And Trump has pretty much conceded that any discussion about territory would have to take place with President Zelensky at the table.
So then, practically, I understand what your hopes are for tomorrow, but realistically, what do you anticipate is going to happen then?
Well, realistically, I think it's up to President Trump to demonstrate to Putin that he's the one who holds the cards, that he can threaten Putin with crippling sanctions. So far, he has not imposed those sanctions. Russia is the only country on this planet that is exempt from tariffs, and that that Trump is the one holding the cards here. And he needs to convey that to Putin because, frankly, so far, Putin has gotten a free ride.
The challenge with this, and certainly European leaders have been saying the same thing, that President Trump needs to show a firm hand. But we have seen, not just from this administration, but from President Trump's previous administration, that there is a degree of, for lack of a better word, deference to President Putin for some reason. And there is a lot of concern that I've been seeing from Ukrainian Canadians and Ukrainians abroad that he will just relinquish and give Putin what he wants, because the big goal for Trump is to end the war, no matter what the cost.
Well, as I say, it's not Trump's to give. Trump can bargain away Alaska, but he can't bargain away Ukrainian territories. And if President Trump opts to walk away from these negotiations, that's a clear signal to the EU that it's time for them to step up to the plate, give Ukraine what it needs to win this war. The combined GDP of the EU is more than sufficient to outgun the Russian economy right now. And crippling sanctions, including sanctions against those who trade in Russian oil, which is the purse that keeps feeding this war, would do the trick. And it's time for our allies to get tough on Putin.
Alexandra, before I let you go, in these stories, we often get fixated on specific things, and you're right to point out Ukraine is not President Trump's to give away. What is the key thing you're going to be looking for tomorrow? What is it that we might be missing as we start preparing for what's going to be a press conference after that meeting between Putin and Trump?
Well, I think a strong declaration by President Trump that he did take a tough stance with Putin. We will hear what that is tomorrow. But as I say, Ukrainians are used to Russia breaking each and every security agreement that they have ever entered into. So let's just say that we're not holding our breath here, and that we know that this is going to be a longer process. President Trump himself has said that this is only the first of a series of meetings. So I don't want to put too much stock in what's going to happen tomorrow because Trump himself has tempered all of our expectations.
Okay. Alexandra Chyczij, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.